It's guitar time. It's guitar time. Welcome back to Guitar Time Studios, Guitar Time Lessons. We finished our fundamental series, and in that we learned in the first lesson the basic names of all the different parts of the guitar, the head, the neck, the frets, the body, the sound holes, and all of that stuff. In the second lesson we learned the names of each of the strings: E, A, D, G, B, and E. Okay, and then in the third lesson we learned the A chord. In the fourth lesson we learned the B chord. And the fifth lesson we learned the C chord. Sixth lesson we learned the D chord. Seventh lesson we learned the E chord. Eighth lesson we learned the F chord. And in the ninth lesson we learned the G chord. I showed y'all guys different fingering positions for those, but those are the chords that we learned. And that finished off the fundamental series part 1. But we're going to have a fundamental series part 2 to finish this off. And in the fundamental series part 2 we're going to learn basic strumming patterns. We're going to learn the basic scales, an A minor scale and a major scale, and then we're also going to learn all the notes on the guitar, and that will finish up our fundamental series part 2. Okay, strumming, scales, major and minor, and all the notes on the guitar. We're going to start this series out with learning all the notes on the guitar. So it's important that you know what the notes are. You got to know what notes you're hitting, and in order to understand that, you have to know what the name of each of the strings is. So we're going to start this off on the E string, okay? The top string, open. Open means you're not holding down any frets. You're hitting it open. The top string open is E. And whenever we count this way up the neck, we're just doing the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. But since we start on E, we're going to go E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, right? We're going to do the alphabet from E to E, okay? We're going to play an entire octave, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, and then E again on the double dots. Now in between some of these there's going to be sharps, and their sharps and a flat is really the same thing. The thing is whenever you're counting up, you call them sharps. Whenever you're counting backwards, you call them flats, right? So if I'm coming up and I go E, F, F sharp, because I'm going up. But if I'm coming backwards, I would go A flat, G, G flat, F, E. So if you're counting backwards, you count flats. If you're counting forwards, you count sharps. But an A flat is the same as a G sharp. If I go G to G sharp, this is a G sharp in that 4th fret. If I go A in the 5th fret, then back a half step to that same fret, it's an A flat. It just depends on which way you're counting. But an A flat is the same as a G sharp. Now let's make a little bit more sense of all of that. So if I start down on E, I'm going to go E to F. Now every note that we hit has a sharp except 2. You have to remember that E to F doesn't have a sharp. There's no E sharp. It just goes E, F. And there's no B sharp. It just goes B, C. But the rest of them have a sharp. Okay, so G sharp, A sharp, D sharp, F sharp. They all have sharps. The only ones that don't have sharps are E to F and B to C. So let's start off with our E note. That's an E string, the very top string open. Then we hit it in the 1st fret, so that's going to be an F. Now if we go a half step up, that's going to be an F sharp. And a half step up will be a G. And a half step up will be a G sharp. And a half step up will be an A, because we don't count over G. G is as far as it goes in the musical alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. But G has a sharp note, so we go G sharp. It's still a G note, it's just a G sharp. And then we start back over at A sharp, B, and remember B to C, there's just no sharp, there's no B sharp, there's just B to C. So we go B to C, and then C sharp, D, D sharp, and then E. So whenever you get back on your double dots, you'll be at an octave. It's an octave higher. It's the same note, but it's higher. Okay? So the top string is E. We go E, and you just count your alphabet, but you start from whatever note you're starting at, and then you go up to G, and then you turn back around and start at A, and you continue back to whatever note you started at. Since we're starting at E, we're going to go E, first fret F, second fret F sharp, third fret G, fourth fret G sharp, and then we start back over at A. Fifth fret is A, sixth fret is A sharp, seventh fret is B, there's no B sharp, so we go straight to C. Eighth fret is C, ninth fret is C sharp, 10th fret is D, 11th fret is D sharp, and 12th fret is back at E. Okay? Now, you do that with every single string. We'll do it with one more string. We'll do the A string. Okay? The A string, remember, is the second string down. Right? Second string down from the top. And it's every adult does good by everyone. E, A, D, G, B, and the bottom string is another E. But it's an octave higher. Okay? Now we go to the A string and we're going to go A. So the next one after A is going to be A sharp. So the first fret will be A sharp. And the one after that is B. Remember, there's no B sharp, so we go straight to C. Right? It's A open, A sharp in the first fret, B in the second fret, C in the third fret, C sharp in the fourth fret, and D in the fifth fret. D sharp in the sixth fret, E in the seventh fret, and remember there's no E sharp, so we go straight to F. F in the eighth fret, F sharp in the ninth fret, G in the 10th fret, G sharp in the 11th fret, and back to A on the 12th fret. Your double dot's going to be the same note that you start on, the same as the open. So if you use that A sharp, B to C, there's no B sharp, so it's A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, and there's no E sharp, it just goes E to F. So it's A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A. That's your pattern. Now, if you apply that to each of these strings, you know every single note on the guitar. Doesn't matter where I put my finger. I'm going to put my finger right here on the 9th fret, right? Remember, the dots help you easily count because they're going to be 3, 5, 7, and 9, right? 3, 5, 7, 9, and then the double dots are 12. So if I put my finger on a dot, I know that's the 9th fret. And this is the second string from the bottom, that's the B string, right? Every adult does good, and then by everyone. Okay, so that's the B string on the 9th fret. All I have to do is go down to B and hit it open. And then the first fret's going to be C, because there's no B sharp. It's going to go straight to C. Then we go to C sharp, to D, to D sharp, to E, and there's no E sharp, we go straight to F. So we go E to F sharp, to G sharp. So that's a G sharp note. The 9th fret on the B string is a G sharp note. Now let's go up here to to the E string. We go E, the 1st fret is going to be F, the 2nd fret is going to be F sharp, 3rd fret is going to be G, and the 4th fret is going to be G sharp. So that should be the same note, right? It's a different octave, but it's the same note, okay? So the 4th fret on the E string is a G sharp. Now let's go back to the 9th fret on the B string. It's the same note. Now what is the G sharp on the A string, all right? Well, we know that if we start on A, we're going to end on A at the double dot. And we know that what comes before A is a G sharp, right? So that should be the same note. On the 11th fret on the A string is a G sharp. The 4th fret on the E string is a G sharp. The 9th fret on the B string is a G sharp. What would it be on the D string? Okay? If we go to the 3rd string down, every adult does. So the 3rd string down is our D string. We go D, D sharp in the 1st fret, and then E, and then there's no E sharp, so we go straight to F, and then F sharp, and then G, and then G sharp. So the 6th fret on the D string is a G sharp. It should be the same as the 4th fret up here, and it should be the same as the 11th fret on the A string, and it should be the same as the 9th fret on the B string. Right? Well, what would it be on the G string? The 4th string down, we go every adult does good. So that 4th string down open is a G string. And now G to what? What's the 1st fret going to be? Well, it's going to be G sharp. Right? So that should be the same note. This should be the same note. The 1st fret on the G string is a G sharp. And the 4th fret on the E string is a G sharp. The 11th fret on the A string is a G sharp. The 6th fret on the D string is a G sharp. The 1st fret on the G string is a G sharp. The 9th fret on the B string is a G sharp. And the bottom string is the same as the top. So the 4th fret on the bottom string is also going to be a G sharp note. Right? See, if I hit any other note, it doesn't sound the same. That 11th fret, 4th fret on the top string, 11th fret on the A string, 6th fret on the D string, 1st fret on the G string, 9th fret on the B string, and so now you know how to figure out every single note on the guitar. And it's a good idea to do what I just did. Find your A note on each string. Find your G note on each string. And that way you can play from one to the other, you know. Well, anyway, you get the idea. Whenever you start playing licks and you start playing solos, you're going to play from one to the other. And if you know where they all are, then you can move your solos all up and down the neck seamlessly. So that's going to be the beginning lesson in the Fundamentals Part 2 of the Guitar Time Studios Guitar Time Lessons Fundamentals Part 2. First lesson, how to find every single note on the neck of a guitar. And now you know. The pattern is A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A. I'll do one more string, and we'll do the D string. Okay? The D string is the third string down. Every adult does. It's that third string down. Okay? Every adult does good by everyone. E, A, D, G, B, E. You have to know the names of your strings. There's no way around it. Buckle down, remember them, just do whatever it takes to get that done, because it has to be done. There's no way to really move forward without it. And then we're going to go to the D string, which is the third string down. Every adult does. And we're going to start, and we know that we just count the alphabet up. But instead of just going A, B, C, D, E, F, G, but we'd start on D. So it would be D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D. But we have to add the sharps in there. But the two that don't have sharps are B to C and E to F. So it'll be D to D sharp, E straight to F sharp, G, G sharp, A, because you start back over at A after G, and then A sharp, B, straight to C, C sharp, and then D on the double dot. And you, for homework, try to figure out the G string, the B string, and we already did the A string, so it's going to be the same on the bottom string as it was on the top. But you need to practice those, get them down, and try to pick a note and figure out where it is on each fret. Just pick a note random. Say, I want to know where the C sharp is. You know, or if you want to make it difficult, you can start calling them flats. You know, I want to know where the G flat is. What is a G flat? Well, it's one half step behind a G. A G sharp is one step in front of a G. A G flat is one step behind a G, right? So if this is a G note, the third fret on the E string, and it's E straight to F, F sharp, and G, right? So a G flat is one half step back, which is the same as an F sharp. So an F sharp and a G flat are the same note. But you can count them either way. It's a good idea to practice them both, so you got a good understanding and a good handle and a good memory of all of that stuff. It'll be absolutely necessary playing music. So if you want to play music, you have to get over that hump. And if you think it's too difficult, then you are not a musician. Music isn't easy, you know. Once you get to where you can play it, then it becomes fun. Learning it, it's a bit of a chore and a kind of a job. You know, you have to remember this. You have to know the names of your strings. There's just no way around it. So get it done, so you can get on to the fun stuff. You know, you have to be able to do what I just showed you. Figure out what each note is. If you do that enough, you'll memorize it. It's kind of like math. You know, what's 15 times, 10? You don't do the math. You just add a 0. It's 150. Yeah, you're no longer doing math. You're just memorizing math, you know. What's 7 times 7? It's 49. I'm not doing the math. I just remember what 7 times 7 is, right? So that's the thing. You're going to remember these. But in order to remember them, you have to do them a lot. And you have to go over this and figure them all out. And then you'll memorize it. Once you memorize it, then you'll get to some more interesting stuff. Because you know your chords, but what I haven't taught you yet is that your chords are made up of 3 different notes, and they're built off of a major scale. The first note, the third note, and the fifth note of a major scale make a major chord. And when you know what 3 notes those are, then you can find them anywhere on the guitar. You know, say, oh, well, these 3 notes are what make a G. And you might say, well, you're playing all 6 notes. That's not 3 notes, that's 6 notes. But it's not, because I'm repeating some of the notes twice, just at a different octave, okay? So, like, I'm hitting the bottom string on the 3rd fret, and I'm hitting the top string on the 3rd fret. They're both G notes, okay? They're both G notes. and I'm hitting this B string open, right? The bottom string, the second from the bottom, that's a B note. But if I go A sharp, B, I'm hitting a B note here and a B note on the second string. I'm hitting a G note on the top string and a G note on the bottom string, right? And then I'm hitting a D string open and then a G string open. But this is a G note, the 3rd fret on the top string. E, F, F sharp, G. And that the G string open is a G note. So those are 2 G notes. And then I'm hitting a B note on the second string, right? A sharp, B. And then I'm hitting that B string open. So I'm hitting the G and the B open and the D. The D string's open, the G string's open, and the B string's open. And then the bottom string is in the 3rd fret also, so it's another G note. So there's 3 G notes in there, 2 B notes, and 1 D note. So I'm hitting 6 strings, but I'm only hitting 3 notes. And now you know what 3 notes make up a G chord, right? The G note, the G note, the B note, and the D note. That's what a G chord is. Now you can find that same combination somewhere else up the neck, and it's also going to be a G chord. So it's important to know and important to practice, and if you want to be a guitar player or a musician at all, you're going to have to buckle down and learn that. It's going to have to be done. So, you know, go ahead and get it done so you can get to the fun stuff, right? Because the fun stuff, it comes, but you have to get up and over the hill first. All right. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you next time on Guitar Time.